What do you make of that? You know, still no bowling towards the end of this.
Yeah, gee, we ended up getting well enough in front there with 5 or 6 minutes to go that we should have won comfortably in the end. But that was a little bit like the game. Despite us being up by 4 goals, I don't think we're a 4-goal better side today. I thought West Coast played particularly well, and at different stages were a better side than us on the day. So we were really pleased to get the 4 points. We've actually been tracking West Coast pretty closely over the last month to 6 weeks, and we've got a fair bit of regard for the way they've been going about it, and I think they're going to beat a lot of sides this year. And they've been applying a lot of pressure to the ball carrier, and they did that to us today, and they're going to win a lot of games of footy. And as we know, the competition is very, very close. We've seen another draw today at the MCG, and every opponent's got to be respected, and we're just happy to get early wins in the season. The last couple of seasons we haven't been able to get our seasons off to a good start, but we're 3-1 now, and just really pleased that we're somehow able to find a victory for ourselves today.
Where do you feel you've turned around, Al, to make it better early in the season?
Oh, there's a number of areas, but probably just our competitiveness around the football. We're tackling a lot better this year and hunting the ball a lot better. But having said that, in terms of hunting the footy, I thought West Coast showed us a fair set of heels today, because we're chasing them a little bit today. They got in and under a lot better, and we didn't control that area of the ground as much as we'd like, but we're perhaps lucky. We had a couple of very influential players in Franklin and Mitchell, and if we wouldn't have had those 2 boys today, we would have been in a little bit of trouble to get the points. But we don't overanalyse the game. It was a pretty scrappy type of affair, a real arm wrestle, and we get the points and move on pretty quickly.
I shaded you in the headouts as you foreshadowed yesterday. How did you see your boys' ability to still win the clearances there?
Yeah, well, I think they won pretty convincingly, the headouts today, but I think the clearances ended up being pretty even. But I was pretty impressed with West Coast and their ability to hunt the footy at ground level, despite the fact that they didn't dominate in terms of the clearances. I was pretty impressed with the way they went about it. They've got some good players that go through there. I think that Luke Shuey's going to be a terrific player for West Coast, and the 2 Selwood boys and Kerr and Prittis, they've got some strong bodies that go through that area of the ground. Rosa played particularly well today, Embley, so they've got some good footballers, and I just thought that we weren't quite as clean as West Coast were around that area of the ground today. So in a lot of ways, it was only once we took we started Mitchell on a half-back flank, but once he went into the midfield after quarter time, he gave us some really good drive, and he was one of the more polished players that we had in the middle of the ground. If it wasn't for him, we would have been in a little bit of trouble in terms of clearances, and I think he had 7 or 8 clearances himself, Mitch, so that helped us enormously.
You said Tommy Murphy was in serious consideration beforehand, but your backman versatility, how did you see your backline on the day?
It was a really interesting contest, that, and probably by the end of the day, West Coast probably just shaded it, because they really got themselves back into the contest. Lynch took a lot of marks over the course of the day, and Kennedy looked like he was going to rip the game apart single-handedly in that last 5 minutes. We were enjoying a 3 or 4 goal winning margin at that stage, and he nearly single-handedly brought his side back into the contest. So that's a significant strength of West Coast. They've got a very, very tall side with Nat Nui and Cox able to play full game time for them, and with some tall targets up forward. So that'll challenge a lot of sides throughout the course of the year, and indeed it challenged us from time to time today too, but it still didn't generate enough power for them to be able to kick a winning score, and that's what we were banking on, and it got us the points today.
Do you like seeing Lance close to the red line? Clarko seems to be where he plays his best footy when he's fired up and on edge.
Well, he's pretty influential for us today, and he's a highly targeted player by opposition sides. He's got he draws a lot of attention with the way that he plays the game. We probably overuse him in the way that we go forward from time to time, and we need to get better as a side in terms of finding other goal kicking options. We kicked 10 goals today, and he's kicked 6 of them. So whilst he's probably in a sense, if it wasn't for him, he probably wouldn't have won the game, but I don't think we're going to win games of finals footy if we've only got a heavy focus on going through one or two players in our forward half. And you look at the Pies of the benchmark for everyone to follow. You know, they had 13 or 14 goal kickers last night, and Swan, who's the midfielder, has kicked 4 of them. You know, if you can share your workload like that, I think that's the model that a lot of teams are trying to chase down. And you know, as we saw with today's game, where there's a fair gap between us and the Magpies, and indeed I think there's a fair gap between most clubs and the Magpies at the present time. So that's a challenge for all of us to chase them down.
How do you instruct against the play emotionally?
Oh, we don't. It's just go out there and play, mate.
Because you know he's going to get that table, and I suppose that's what I'm saying. He's going to get it pretty much every week.
Yeah, and listen, he's an experienced player now, and he knows he's going to cop some extra attention, and he's just got to continue to channel his focus on the ball, and yeah, not much he can do about it. You know, he wears a lot of attention from time to time, but that happens to all players that have a significant contribution on the output of games.
Do you think West Coast can play finals on what we saw today?
Oh, it's too hard to say at this point of the year. They've won 2 and lost 2, and we've been really impressed with the way that they've gone about it over the summer. They were pretty good in the pre-season, and they've carried that form into the main season. And you know, to be fair, both games that they've played over the last 2 weeks, they could have won. They could have beaten Sydney last week. They had a 12 or 13 point advantage at halfway through the last quarter and lost that game. And you know, today was a real arm wrestle, and we just got a bit of ascendancy for about a 10-minute patch at the start of the last quarter, but that was the only real good flow in the game that we had as a side, and the game could have gone either way today as well. So they're an impressive side, but I couldn't crystal ball who's going to make the 8 at this point in time. I'm just hoping the brown and gold team gets there.
Tough day for Ruffy. Today.
Yeah, well, it's a tough day for all forwards. That's what makes Franklin's effort even better. You know, it's a ground that not enormous scores are kicked at this ground. So. It's hard to say. It's a pretty open ground. The conditions are pretty tough to score heavily here. But it was a tough day for forwards. But the way that the game was played made it tough too. You know, a lot of congestion. There wasn't any real great flow in the game from both sides. And you know, you look at the inside 50 count. I think it was 48 to 43 or something thereabouts. You know, we've played games this year where we've had 60, 70 inside 50 entries. So it wasn't that type of game today. So if it doesn't get down to roughhead all that often, or some of our other forwards, then it makes it pretty tough. And but it was the same for the West Coast side. You know, they'd be looking at their game as well and saying, gee, if we're only going to get the ball inside 50, 43 times for the game, we're not going to kick a big enough score to win. So it was just that type of game today. But I'm sure both sides would like to get inside 50 a little bit more.
Cameron Bruce had a few touches today. How do you sort of rate his game today?
Yeah, he made a contribution for us today, Brucey, and it would have been nice if he could have slotted that goal in the third quarter. He and Youngie both had chances 5 minutes apart that could have just given us a little bit of ascendancy going into three-quarter time. But we were pretty pleased with the contribution that he made, and he's still finding his way in terms of the Hawthorn style of ball movement. But he and Hale have been really handy acquisitions to our side, and we only think that they're going to get better as they learn the way that we play and all the sort of individual idiosyncrasies that players play with. It's going to take some time for those two boys to get used to that, but we're happy with the contribution he's making so far.
Is it happening to get that bit with some of the other guys?
Who's that, Brucey?
Yes.
Oh no, he's got an enormous tank, and he's still found the footy about 20 times today, and we're pretty pleased with the role that he can play for us, and he's hopefully going to get better as the year progresses. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.